So it seems like Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, is finally releasing his new album Bully on January 30th. And I say finally because he's delayed the thing like 3 or 4 times. However, with new items to promote the album, such as various vinyls, t-shirts, a CD, cassette tape, and grills being available on his website, bully.easy.com, it seems like this date is much more concrete than the other ones. And while I am a bit excited for this album to release, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't have some worries about it, which is what I'm going to be discussing in this video. Now, the biggest issue that I and probably many other fans have with what we've heard from Bully through leaks and released EPs on streaming platforms is that Ye seems to be using AI on basically all of his vocals on the album, which is disappointing, as he also unfortunately used AI on his past 2 albums, Donda 2 and Vultures 2. And I and many others are pretty sick of it, as we all know that using AI for vocals is pretty lazy. And we've been hoping that Ye would step away from that stuff for his music moving forward. I believe that Ye actually wanted AI to be the main focus of this album, as I think he said in an interview that he wanted to treat the AI in Bully as he treated the autotune in 808s and Heartbreaks, and sort of paved the way for this new technology to be used. However, now it seems that Ye has realized through all the backlash he's received that replacing your voice with AI is not the same as autotune. And actually now some are saying that this version of Bully that's releasing January 30th won't contain any AI vocals at all. This info comes from one of Ye's managers, who stated that there won't be any AI vocals on Bully, and I also saw that someone from Yeezy.com's support team also said that there won't be any AI vocals. Now at first this looks very promising, as we have people who are seemingly close to Ye and the album stating that there won't be any AI. However, I'm not trusting this entirely because I've heard that the manager has previously been known for sometimes telling lies, and as for the Yeezy support message, that could just be a response tailoring to the customer, who reportedly said that they would not purchase the album if it had AI vocals in it. But even if you put the reputation of lying and tailoring aside, and take them word for word, I still have issues with believing that Bully won't include any AI vocals. As you may know by now, the tracklist for Bully accidentally got revealed through a picture of the cassette tape on bully.easy.com, showing that the tracks Preacher Man, Beauty and the Beast, Last Breath, White Lines, I Can't Wait, Bully, All the Love, This One Here, Highs and Lows, Mission Control, Circles, Damn, and Losing Your Mind will appear on the album. Now all these tracks have been leaked in the past as part of the album, besides All the Love, which leaked separately. And from what I've heard, most of them seem like they could easily have the AI vocals on to be replaced with Ye's real voice. That is, except for the 2 tracks Last Breath and Losing Your Mind. Last Breath is a track where Ye's AI voice speaks predominantly in Spanish, and I doubt that Ye's learned how to speak Spanish during the album's development. There were early versions with Peso Pluma reciting some of the Spanish lines, however I don't know of a finished version of the track with him on it, or if Ye is even still in contact with him. As for Losing Your Mind, this track is Ye's AI vocals over the song Vitamin C by Can, which if he were to take out the AI, would mean that he would have to either replicate the accent of the main singer, or give completely new verses, essentially making a whole new revamped version of the track, which to me is very unlikely. It would be a bit more believable that these tracks would get changed if we had just heard leaks from them. However, Ye has already released both on streaming as a pack, which is where my skepticism for these tracks being changed comes from. Surprisingly though, recently the first Bully pack with Preacher Man, Beauty and the Beast, and Damn got taken off of YouTube Music, which could mean that those tracks are being replaced with new non-AI versions, and leave The Last Breath and Losing Your Mind also being replaced by non-AI versions. But it's too early to tell. Another track that I've not heard a lot of concern for whether AI will stay on it is This One Here, which may seem normal since the track isn't a cover, nor does it have any other languages in it. However, it does have background vocals as a sort of counter melody to Ye's rapping, with the AI backing vocals replicating the voice of Ye and what sounds like James Blake. Now Ye could very easily replicate his own vocals and also find recordings of James Blake and put those into the track to replace the AI. But again, I find myself questioning if he will, as for tracks that he's had real vocals on, like Wheels Fall Off or Ty Dolla $ign, he'll also include AI hooligan voices as a bridge between the two. However, I'm unsure if that was his or Ty's decision. Now since we've discussed the negative side of Bully, with its possible usage of keeping AI vocals, I want to switch to a more positive outlook as to what we could maybe expect to see in this album if it does release with no AI, and what I hope to see in Bully. Of course, we've been getting every track with their original verses, actually re-recorded by Ye this time, as well as probably some extra verses, as most of the leaked tracks seem very empty, and of course we'd probably have Peso Pluma on Last Breath. I'd probably also expect for the tracks to be in a higher quality, as they seem very gritty compared to the other songs in Ye's albums. However, I understand that for some tracks there's just an issue with the sample being in a low quality to begin with. With all the changes that could be done to Bully, I wouldn't be surprised if the album ends up sounding completely revamped from the leaked versions. It's also key to note that a modern version of the album hasn't been leaked yet, just the track list. And from what I know, the latest version we have is from July, so a lot could have changed from then. With all that being said, I also find myself wondering what Ye even wants this album to represent from a career standpoint. There are three perspectives I see Ye taking for Bully, with him being a literal bully to the industry as he uses his platform to promote AI in music. However, this outlook is much less likely due to the backlash Ye has already received from using AI, as well as his various controversies in early 2025 having an effect on his image and probably his influence he could have had on the industry back when Bully was going to release earlier. Another perspective Ye could have with Bully is as his comeback album. As with all the controversy that Ye's been trying to get himself out of, an album with no AI and good production could put him in the spotlight again and make people take him seriously. The final perspective I see Ye having on Bully is an album he just wants to rush out unfinished and get this era over with, making some money from his album sales in the process. Out of all these different perspectives, I'm really hoping Ye decides to use Bully as an opportunity to make a comeback, since it's been a minute since we've received some good music from him. However, we really don't know what direction Ye is going to take for Bully, as Ye himself has barely spoke about the project. There is a concert on the same day as Bully's planned release date, so maybe this is a sign that Ye will perform some of the tracks live and will have no AI. Although on the other hand, he could just perform his older stuff and leave Bully to rot on streaming. So will Bully actually end up being good? I'm not sure. There's a lot of info about the album that points towards it being good and bad, so it's up to you to choose what you believe in. Personally, I'm very mixed, but I'm hoping that Ye will choose the right option of giving us a decent album. If that happens to be the case, then I would definitely be buying myself a Bully CD to listen to the album, because I don't want both Kanye West and the Ye account on my Spotify Wrapped. That would be kind of messy. I'm also very excited to hear All the Love for the first time, as I haven't listened to the leak of the song since it wasn't a part of the original Bully tracklist. So hopefully it sounds good along with the other tracks. Be sure to let me know in the comments how you think Bully will turn out, and stay tuned as I will be reviewing the album when it releases. Subscribe, like, and hype as always.